Boom! According to that, I am live, and I should be in 1080p. Tell me if I am. Anyway, welcome to Boom Tokyo Tonight 2. Good to have you along. Hopefully I've got aspect ratios and resolution, all that stuff sorted for tonight. Stream health is good. And let me just take a quick look at this. Please tell me you have HD there. We got auto 1080p. We are streaming with OBS because it's awesome, and that lets me do all of this cool stuff. So it's good to see you all. Let me just make sure I've got all my captured devices. Looks like we're good. Sound wise, yes, audio input capture, all that good stuff. Tokyo Tonight 2 Basic, welcome. So a bit early tonight, I want to explain that during the summertime when this Premier League isn't on, the house tends to go to bed a little bit early. I got some negative feedback from within the house last week that I was still making a lot of noise past 11:30, and I was told wrap that shit up. So until the Premier League starts again, the only reason I really show much of an interest in it, this show will be from 10:30 to 11:30. Well, truth be told, also, if it goes to midnight, I can't do very much afterwards anyway. Unfortunately, I just had to run out of the shower and come here. So I didn't have a lot of time to prepare and set up, but it looks like I made it in time. So I realize for some people, yes, it's going to be a bit earlier when I know it's already early in the morning, so I'm sorry for that. I will go back to the 11 o'clock format, but it'll be probably in about 3 months. But for now, during the Northern Hemisphere summertime, this is going to be it. It'll be good for the people watching in New Zealand, not so great for the people in America. Sorry about that, but good to see all of you guys. So let's go and see who joined us here. Look at that double Kumamon. There is the real Kumamon. Here is the awesome shirt version of it. So as you can see, I'm a big Kyushu fan here. So let's see who's in here. We got Lucas Mosa, who is going to be at work during the stream, but was good enough to share the link, and I very much do appreciate people who share the link, because it's always more fun when there's more people in the comments, so please remember to do that. Also, won't mind at all if you like or subscribe or do any of that good stuff, but only if you want to, of course. Nudge nudge, wink wink. So all good with that. Jeff, you're actually awake in time today. Very glad to hear that. Jeff, where are you from, Jeff? Tell me. I'm kind of curious about the time zones. In fact, actually, that's something I'd like to ask. Is people leave a comment, tell me what time zone you're in, so I've got a sense. Am I torturing you by doing this too early? Is it like in the middle of the day? Are you staying up late at night for this? I'm curious. So anyway, good to have you along, Jeff. The Sergeant Bilko in Sweden, yes indeed, early today for the reasons I just explained, but still good to have you along. And woohoo, we have the start, we have the boom, we've got everybody in here. Jeff's going to take advantage and get a drunk. Now, there's a slight difference there. Are you going to get drunk or are you going to get a drunk? Those are very different things. You could be a police officer, I suppose. You could be celebrating, watching my show, just arresting people for random. That would be kind of mean, actually, but you know, or it could just be get drunk, in which case I would say go for it, because people tell me it makes my show a lot more watchable. Kimmy Kim Kim, hello and boom indeed, good to have you along, Kimmy Kim Kim. We got Ko Hoshino, Hikozaeman, oi indeed, good to see you, Ko Hoshino. I see you've been doing the vlogging stuff on Facebook lately. I haven't been able to watch many of them, but yes, it's good to see you getting into it. 1080p is working, and 720p if the 1080p is too mind-blowing, which means that the comments should be sharp as well. Are they sharp? They should be sharp. This is actually much better, isn't it? I realize, as usual, I have some minor technical issues to work out when I start these out, but OBS, this is the stuff. How I was paying so much money for Wirecast, which was so terrible in comparison to this, anyway, at least given that I'm achieving the same things. So Nihon, that's Oniko, but I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that, because I'm not so great either. I can read that's Oni child. How do you read that? Anyway, where did I find cheese in Japan? So the big story is, or it's coming up, is that Japan's had a free trade deal with Europe. And the fundamental trade, apart from having lower tariffs on most things to facilitate trade between the European bloc, which will exclude Britain, Britain won't get the benefit of this, and Japan, is, in fact, let me just save some bandwidth there by pausing my own video, is that Japan will get to sell more cars and car parts into Europe without high tariffs, and Europe will get to sell more cheese in Japan and dairy products. I'm hoping for butter in this. I haven't seen butter being specifically mentioned, but cheese has been a big topic of discussion. The cheese in Japan is terrible. It's all like American cheese. It's very processed. There's not a lot of good. It's hard to find good cheese. They do import good cheeses from Europe. They're extremely expensive, so the good cheeses are going to get cheaper. And even the crap cheeses. Well, even in Europe, the crap cheese is much better than the average cheese here. You know my opinions about the dairy industry in Japan. I really would have liked the TPP. I would have loved to have seen all that, you know, Canadian and American, New Zealand, Australian cheese in here first, but, you know, America went and screwed that up. So Europe gets in there, and seriously, if we get all the European cheese, I say this as a proud New Zealander, well, we are going to miss out a bit on the cheddar, of course, because we won't have British stuff in there. There's still New Zealand and Australia, we do good cheddars, so I'm all for that, but pretty much, seriously, if we can get European butter and cheese, well, then why would we really care about Australian or New Zealand or Canadian or American cheese? So, you know, I mean, America's lost the opportunity to get in first on this. But good on the Europeans for doing this deal, and I'm very excited about that. That's what this is about. We will get into that with other details in the news, but if you ask me a question, I will always do my best to answer here in the comments. We got Charles Singer, hey, who woke up earlier for once, and good thing you did, because the show was earlier, so glad that you can make it, Charles Singer. Robert, old dude, howdy, how indeed, howdy, hi. Eduardo Erta, good to have you along. OBS, boom, indeed, OBS is the shit, it seriously is. Tofa, good to see you, Tofa. And wow, there's just way too much information packed into a very, very short comment there. And I read it, and yes, the problem is it's a very visual comment. I'm sorry that you hot. It was like 35 degrees in Tokyo today and yesterday. I'm on my third change of clothes, but I did decide to actually wear clothes on this occasion. I've got the aircon on, but it is hot indeed. How you deal with that, I think you should just keep to yourself. But good to know that you are dealing with it, I would say, with adequate remedies. And that you are not suffering like a lot of people probably are. Although I do suggest you maybe just get an air conditioner. Just an idea. Okay, Jeff, stateside, 8:34 a.m. Well, stateside is very big, but 8:35. Okay, so you're in America somewhere where it is 8:34. So is that like Eastern Standard Time, or is that US time? Or I think that's East Coast, right? If you're talking around that. Well, anyway, good to see you. ASDFL. In fact, that's not L. That's a ASDF. Bikuri Mark 12131. A reason not to study. 1630 onwards for you. Okay, so you must be like in Europe or something over there. And awesome to have you along here. 6:30 a.m. Eduardo Horta. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm very sorry that you're awake. I'm very glad that you're awake. So you must be in South America to be in that time zone, or maybe in North America actually. But very much appreciate you coming along. And so who we got? We got Central European Time with Caroline Van Oosten de Boer. They're in the Netherlands. Good to have you along. Eduardo, I'm sorry that you had to get up even earlier to watch this, but I'm very glad. Look, get some cornflakes, some delicious fruit juice, tasty beverage, maybe a coffee, and enjoy. Just make this the morning radio show where you can pretend that you're in Japan and I'm on the radio, which I'm not, but you know, you can just imagine. Okay, Charles Singer, 13 EST, Eastern Standard Time, 13 hours behind. There we go. The fuck indeed. ASDF. That's dedication. I admire that. That's a good quality. Who else we got here? We got Jeff. Also meant a drink. I get a drink, not get a drunk. I'm glad. So I really, you know, now that I think about that comment, I should have told you to leave those drunks alone. Seriously, but that's right. If you need a drink, that's an entirely different situation, so good on you. Tai Nakamura, indeed, good to see you, man. It is Fuji Rock season, and now I'm remembering why it's Fuji Rock season, because it's too hot. It's too hot in Tokyo, so they go up to the mountains, and that's why it's good to have a music festival up there, and you should go there. And hell, if I can go there, I would love to go there. That would be pretty awesome, actually. I hope you're having a good time there, Mr. Nakamura. Who else we got? We got Don Quixote. I'm glad that you made it, Don Quixote. It's good, an honor to have you along, a famous historical figure like yourself. In fact, I think this is the first time I've noticed you comment, so welcome if you're a first time commenter there. Alan XD, also indeed good to see you. Who else we got here? We got Robert Ryan, good to see you. Hello. Remino, too many pixels to handle. I bring the pixels, that's what I do. I don't have a lot going for me, but I have pixels now, so that's pretty good. Thank you, OBS. The stream is great, the resolution is great. You can see the comments, it's sweet. What else we got here? We got Jesus, says Barringer. Good to have you along, Barringer. That's right. OBS is open source and free, and that is why it is awesome. Kang and Kodos, good to have you along here. Hey, everybody, says Kang and Kodos. Yes, that's right. We're going to have the good cheese news. We're going to have all the Gouda. Seriously, all the wheels. I'm going to have freaking... My car is going to be mounted on wheels of Gouda. You've got no idea. I can't wait for that stuff. Hey, yes, indeed. Roller Cheese. The movie. I don't know that movie. It's a reference I don't get, but there we go. SDF movie. We'll be very happy to have European cheese and more wines here as well. That's right. Oniko. Oniko, is that the way I should call you? Thank you. I will call you Oniko. Oniko. Nihon Oniko. Nippon Oniko. Yes. Second change of clothes. Yes. Stay in your room. Secondly, even if your room is only polite. Well, that's right. At least to my room and to all the neighbors. I should buy some curtains. I have curtains. Don't worry about that. Steve from Berkeley. Central Time. Even though you're from Berkeley. I guess you're not there originally. Very cool though. You must be smart if you're from Berkeley. Central Time says Don Quixote. James O'Hara, hey, I'm naked. Didn't need to hear that. Thank you. Shubas, it's 8:30 a.m. there in Panama. Hey, well, buenos dias. I guess it really is buenos dias for you guys. And great to have you always. Always nice to have someone from Panama watching again. Good to have you along, Shubas. What else we got here? We got everybody always naked in some way. I was born naked. That's how I am. To me, you know, that's just how it is. Comments are skipping ahead again. Fresh orange juice from your orange juice trees there in Panama. I would love to have some Panamanian orange juice actually. It sounds pretty delicious just thinking about it. Where is Mr. Cordy Chap? That's a good question. I guess he didn't see the update. Low resolution. Who are you going to call the Pixel Man? That's right. Shivers hates canned corn. Thank you for sharing that. It is okay in stir-fried vegetables and Chinese cooking. Canned corn works, but yeah, proper serious corn you should go there. Only the baby corn, I think. Mr. Cordy Chap, I started early. That's right. I wanted to make you miss the beginning. That's why I failed. I failed to make Mr. Cordy Chap miss. I explained the beginning. You can watch the stuff later. Basically, household reasons. I can't be too noisy too late. So I started a little bit early. So what can I do? It's okay. We're still doing introductions here. Pacific time. Oh, that is Pacific time. I'm sorry about that. So there we go. Other guys, Central. Who else we got here? We have Kim wants a Panama hat. He started early without telling you, so you have an angry face. Well, you and your angry face are perfectly on time because we're about to start going through the news and what's going on this week. This week, the last few weeks, there hasn't been a lot to talk about, but there's a lot to talk about this week. So let's get into it. Let's go. So first thing, last week we were talking about the Tokyo Regional Assembly results. Basically, Tokyo, Japan has 47 states. We call them prefectures here, but they're basically states. And for the state of Tokyo, the biggest one, the most important one to me, because I'm in Tokyo and this is Tokyo Tonight, so this is naturally the most relevant one. Very interesting results. The final results were for the entire assembly. Something like 128 seats. So you need 64 to be able to like control a majority there. And Tokyo First 49, Komeito 23, and Komeito is actually partnered with the LDP and the national government, but they decided in Tokyo to join with Tokyo First. Tokyo First is a brand new party invented by the populist governor who wanted to run for the LDP, and they said, oh no, we've got a very respectable old man, we don't want you women folk trying to run for the LDP in Tokyo. So she ran as an independent, she became governor, she set up her own party, and she destroyed the LDP with it. Kind of funny story. So the LDP went down from like 60 something seats down to 23. The JCP, see the JCP there? Out of 128 seats, they got 19. They are the Japanese Communist Party. So the fourth biggest, most popular party and the fourth biggest seat holder in the Tokyo electorate is the Japanese Communist Party. They get a lot of votes here. The next one, DP, the Democrat Party. Now, about 8 years ago in Tokyo, the Democrats controlled. They won the election. They beat the LDP and they controlled the Tokyo Assembly. And everyone's been focusing on how badly the LDP did. But the Democrats, 5 seats, they got destroyed. They actually did as bad as anyone else. And then you've got the other sort of mishmash or whatever. So, really interesting actually. We've got this new political force study in Tokyo around the female governor, Yuriko Koike. And yeah, she's kind of an LDP rebel. She left the party because they wouldn't even consider that it was basically fixed who was going to run for governor, and she ran against the party and beat them, so it's pretty cool. Whoa, Mr. Cordy Chip got to chat with an engineer from SpaceX. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed. I've got some space news in here. Virgin Galactic, they've announced that Spaceship 2 is going to be flying soon, and they'll be doing the manned flights within 3 years. What's happening? Japan's got its own private rocket flying in a couple of weeks, a private company satellite launching rocket. There's lots of cool stuff with spaceflight, but seriously, like SpaceX, that's the shit right now. Soundproof my room, wink wink. Yes indeed. Well, I wish I could, but yes, I just have to be Shubis. I had no idea they don't make Panama hats in Panama. That sounds like flagrant false advertising, if you ask me. So there we go. Norio Murama, Japanese government spokesman, told an audience in Brussels that the trade deal had been agreed on the basis it was with all 28 member countries. It's a bit of a strange comment to make, Topher, but thank you for sharing it. So I wonder if where that leaves Britain. But yes, Shuba's fake news shake. I see, now I get the fake news comments. Okay, so Oniko, you've read that Tokyo First doesn't have a significantly different plan for local politics. They just have no confidence in LDP's organization. Well, there's two elements of Tokyo First. One is that there's a lot of rebels from LDP who joined the governor and leaving the LDP without having much of a materially different plan. The other thing is that a lot of people jump ship from the Democrats to Tokyo First. That's another reason that the Democrats got wiped out in Tokyo. But yeah, in terms of what they actually plan, well, you have to remember, Yuriko Koike was a cabinet member of the LDP. She is the LDP. And in fact is considered to be slightly to the right wing of the LDP. She's, you know, so it's kind of cool to see the LDP get screwed up. But, you know, essentially they're not anything materially different. They're just different people and a different flag. So that's a fair statement, you know, actually. So yes, oh we got Mr. Bushido Devil Dog in here. Good to have you along. Greetings indeed. Good to have you here. So that was what was happening during the show last week. We got the results the next morning and it was interesting. Koike Cap wins, landslide in Tokyo. Not a real landslide. We've had real landslides this week and 18 people died in Kyushu because of them. We'll get to that as well. But this was an electoral landslide in Tokyo. And yes, although the LDP got smashed, no one really noticed. The Democrats just got completely destroyed, the national number 2 party, so even more. Okay, around Monday or Tuesday I finished watching Master of None and I heard a lot of people saying it was really, really good. I had it on my watch list on Netflix for like 6 months and I watched 1 or 2 episodes and I don't really, it's nice, I get it, but I'm not like compelled to binge watch it like I was with Black Mirror or, you know, a bunch of other stuff which I've seen, you know, on Netflix. I didn't find it that binge-inducing per se, although I found it sort of pleasant and interesting and quirky. But I did find as I watched it more and more and more, particularly when it got to the 2nd season. I'm not going to give spoilers about this, but it's really good. And it really builds and grows, and they take their time. Hey, it's Phoenix 787. Good to have you along here. So it builds and builds and builds, but it is great. And there are some things that he does every episode. He basically does something creatively or culturally in a way, like sort of challenging sort of barriers or whatever. Or he does things I've never seen on TV before, basically, like repeatedly. And not for the sake of doing them as gimmicks. He incorporates them with stories around them that are just like, what? It makes you realize what we're sort of missing out on in some ways by the fact that we don't have, you know, I don't want to give spoilers, but it's really good. I mean, there were a couple of episodes I watched which I was just at the end of them, I was just like, dang. You know, there was an episode, now Thanksgiving was an awesome episode, but there was another one anyway in the middle of season 2. Just one of those things where, you know, you don't quite succeed at connecting, and the final scene is just like subtle. It's all very subtle, but it's just really, really, really good. And I went over to Rotten Tomatoes because I just wanted to see, like, has anyone criticized this and why? And it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes with a lot of reviews. It's like it is one of like the best. I mean, I don't want to disappoint anyone by overdoing it, but It's one of the best things I've ever seen. I mean, it's amazing. So you should go and watch it. One spoiler, I had no idea. He gives away in one of the episodes, I didn't actually realize that Short Circuit, which I enjoyed when I was a kid. You know, Johnny 5 is alive, the robot, was in Short Circuit 1 and 2. I think it was in Short Circuit 2. They have an Indian character who's like a kind of a cheerful sidekick to Steve Guttenberg. I had no idea that was like an Indian face. He's a white person pretending to be an Indian person with an Indian accent, which was, I had no idea about that, and they made that kind of a subject of one of the episodes. That was kind of shocking, actually. I had no idea, and actually even and some of the Indian people on the show were joking that it was yeah, that he was like their favorite Indian actor. You know, even Indian people didn't realize. Seriously, by the way, yeah, you should. I liked House MD. I watched it years and years ago. I haven't watched it recently. I'm sorry that Netflix is crap where you are, Mr. Cordychep, but yes. Yeah, House of Cards Season 3 and 4, I agree, got a little bit out of hand. Season 5, I think, got a little bit more on the rails again, but I actually liked it much better before he was president. I kind of agree with you, ASDF 12131, about what happened with House of Cards, but the recent season was okay, you know. Spoon and Tamago, this is a fantastic blog. They do a lot of sort of artsy coverage of Tokyo, but yes, I think they've got a project online anyway. Oh, it's from New Zealand. Well, there we go. Yeah, basically a project where you can get basically images of cyberpunk Tokyo, sort of the Blade Runner Tokyo, and surround yourself with it. It looks pretty cool anyway, so that's worth looking at if you are into that, which I am. I mean, even though I live here. Robert Ryan, apparently half the reason he tunes in is to see Mr. Cordychip's comments. He's like a naughty cat. You're always waiting to see what he'll do next. And this is a compliment, by the way. I can't wait until these crappy TV channels go bankrupt. Well, there we go. Yes, well, we are, and wishing the devil dog, we will not say the B word. We will not say the B word. I've covered Senator Toyota in previous shows. I do have another mention. There is an update which we will get to later in the show. Often the characters for her name are pronounced Toyota with a D, but she actually pronounced it Toyota, like the car, which makes me think whenever I see it, oh, what a feeling, because that was the slogan when I was a kid of Toyota. It's pretty. I feel bad for the cars. Anyway. Japan doesn't just have square watermelons, it has square watermelon bread. I want this. I don't know where I can get it. Where can you get this, actually? I just saw this and thought it was awesome. Where and how can you get the bread? Sukapang. Okay, it's a specific bakery, Bologna. But it can be ordered through Daimoru Matsuzaka's online store. Well, there you go, you can get it online. I'm sure it's very unreasonably expensive, but it looks like a lot of fun. So there you go. Now, it was around Monday or Tuesday, I think, that North Korea launched the ICBM, the big missile. And let's be clear, a lot of people kind of made a lot of fuss about this. Hey, Gabriel, good to have you along. And John Anderson, good to have you along, John Anderson. I apologize, all the people who are planning to catch the start of the show at 11 who are arriving late because I changed the start time. I am sorry. For reasons I explained before. It's a little bit too noisy, me talking by myself here too late at night when the Premier League soccer isn't going on, apparently. So for the next 3 months until the soccer starts again, it'll be 30 minutes earlier. Sorry about that. So coming back, the North Korean ICBM, let's talk about that. This guy, Adam P. Liff, I didn't understand this at first. Now, North Korea's made a lot of missiles, and, you know, they've got basically, they made the Scud missiles that Iraq and so on used, and they sold those to everybody, and then they improved them. About 15 years ago, they made the Tepidon missile. The Tepidon missile was really the first North Korean missile that could accurately hit anywhere in Japan, and they fired one test missile that went over Japan, caused a huge panic in Japan for a long time, and everyone's kind of saying, well, Japan's just a missile test, Japan's being hysterical. Japan's just trying to leverage this to try to bully North Korea more, whatever. Japan should just calm down. I sort of remember this at the time, but there was a big sort of scare in Japan at that time, because we sort of realized at that point, if North Korea ever got into a war with South Korea, they could try attacking Japan. They could viably do a lot of damage to Japan as a way of kind of distracting, you know, as a tactic. So Japan suddenly got very nervous. But the Americans were like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. North Korea kept increasing the range of its rockets, including some which were thought to be theoretically capable of getting to Alaska. Even some rumors that there was a test a few years ago where they actually like landed, or the parts of a rocket landed in Alaska, was one of the rumors going around. But still, you know, the rockets were always improving and in increments. It's not like what happened on the weekend was like a sudden thing. Then I guess about 2 or 3 years ago they started doing the nuclear the tests, and even then it was okay, well they can test atomic bombs, but they don't have the ability to deliver them. But they've gotten better with the bombs pretty quickly, and those bombs have gotten more compact. And the missiles have improved, and on the weekend they succeeded with a rocket that's projected to have a range that does reach the North American continent. Again, it wouldn't quite make it to Anchorage, but it would make it comfortably to Alaska. And America has started going kind of crazy. I guess for America this was a little bit like Typhoon in the start of the week. And yeah, I saw people kind of talking all sorts of crazy stuff, as if this meant inevitably now there has to be a war with North Korea. And people say, hey everybody, let's wait a minute, don't forget there are tens of thousands of US citizens living in South Korea and Japan. Most of them are US military. But yes, there are indeed tens of thousands, but why are you bringing this up? I mean, North Korea's missiles, in a way, the same way that the South Koreans were saying about Typhoon, well, they're glad about Typhoon. They couldn't be upset about Typhoon because this means that the North Koreans might just attack Japan instead of them now. And frankly, one more thing, I mean, if North Korea gets in a war with America and they can actually now hit America directly instead of Japan, why should Japan get too upset about that, is one selfish way of looking at it. Certainly no one here was really panicking. This is kind of, we went through this panic, you know, a long time ago. However, a lot of Americans, I realized what the panic was about. And I became scared by about Tuesday, and it wasn't because of North Korea, it was because of America. It's because a lot of Americans started saying, basically, the Wall Street Journal editorial board says that regime change should now be the only option. Newspaper editorial boards were calling for war with North Korea. They were calling for an invasion. They were calling for do it now. Basically, get them now before they extend their missiles a little bit further and they could hit Los Angeles or Washington or New York. And everyone was saying, no, it's not North Korea you should be freaking out about. It's about America. Well, who knows what America's going to do now that this has happened. I appreciate it's been a bit of a Sputnik moment for the Americans this week, sort of realizing that they might get punched back by someone that they might punch. There are a lot of parallels, however, though. This situation has happened before. You know, it happened with China in the 1960s, and China announced it was willing to nuke anybody. It was very much like North Korea, the way that it talked. The Russians thought that China was batshit crazy. They disowned China, and America, as a way to sort of sideline Russia, actually straight after that formed diplomatic relations with China and set up the kind of very positive relationship that they have today. And you know that North Korea learned from that, and that's what they're hoping that they're going to get as well. Similarly, Pakistan, India, both tested long-range missiles. India tested space rockets. Basically, they can fire ICBMs anywhere in the world, and they both tested nuclear weapons. And again, they weren't really heavily sanctioned for it. They were, you know, Pakistan was given kind of a timeout. India didn't really suffer anything for it. So all the precedents sort of say that, you know, I mean, they thought Iraq had chemical weapons, but let's face it, if they really, really seriously had them and could demonstrate that they could use them, I doubt that the invasion, I think the invasion happened because they were sure it was safe to invade. So, I don't know, I mean, anything's possible, and that did start to make me nervous, but I think it is actually, you understand why North Korea has it. They just want it so that they can have some form of deterrence against America ever trying to change their regime. Americans are trying to say, well, we need to teach them a lesson and do exactly that. But yeah, I don't know. It's sort of, it does make you start to wonder who is the bigger danger, actually. Seriously, I mean, I think the strategy of just ignoring North Korea is still and continuing to apply pressure to them, at least until they get rid of, you know, they release all their abductees and everything. That's still the right way to go. But yeah, you can't make a country unlearn technology. You just I can't imagine how you're ever going to undo North Korea's possession of nuclear weapons or intercontinental missiles. I mean, they're actually pretty good at them. I would make something. Apparently, Mr. Cordy Chip says, what would I make? I would make. Wow, my music is on this video. Entering Windhoek in Namibia. That is cool. As a rugby fan, I'm gonna totally look that up. How to say entering? I've always wondered how you pronounce that properly. Windhoek. They've got a good rugby team, by the way. They've caused some real upsets at the World Cup. Namibia is a really interesting country. A lot of documentaries are awesome, which is also why. Entering Windhoek. My music's on it. Wow, I'm going to go check that out. That is awesome. Thank you for the tip there. In fact, I should look that up. I haven't seen where my music's been being used lately. So, yes, Japan do. Good to have you along. Oh, you're asking whether it was my music. Okay, I will. I don't know why you were watching that video, Mr. Cordy Chip, but I am intrigued, and I will watch, and I will tell you when I find out the answer to that. In fact, I might be able to check that on my iPad at the end of the show. Anyway, moving on. PSA for Americans coming into Japan. No, you cannot bring a suitcase with live ammunition into Japan. It is funny. I mean, when you're trying to go to America now, you can't carry your laptop from a bunch of countries. They make you take off your shoes. They make you. They scan you. You can't take little bottles of water. You can't take like deodorant, perfume, drinks, pretty much anything. But you can take bullets. I mean, that's great. I mean, okay, this was checked in. This wasn't carry-on, so it is slightly different. But apparently this American woman, she realized she accidentally left a whole bunch of live ammo in her suitcase that she didn't mean to bring into Japan, and she threw it into a bin in the airport of Japan. Someone found it, alerted the cops, and she was arrested. Yeah, pro tip, don't bring freaking ammo into Japan. Bad idea. I mean, the fact that this was sitting in a depressurized cargo hold of an airplane for an entire flight, I guess they weren't tracer rounds. I sure hope they weren't. I don't know how they. I mean, seriously. I mean, they're stopping and shaking down old ladies for having perfume bottles, but they're letting people on planes with suitcases full of live ammo. It doesn't make any sense to me. But there we go. So yes, I think I was gushing. Yes, I just thought I tweeted at Aziz Ansari, just like that was so good. That was so good. So thank you for that. There's going to be a new bullet train in 2019. It's going to run on normal lines at 360 kilometers per hour. The regular Shinkansen, they used to be 220. The very fastest ones right now get up to 320. 360 is pretty freaking fast. In China, they run the Japanese bullet trains at over 300 k's an hour, which they can technically do, but it's not considered to be safe. But the Chinese do it, and they've had some serious crashes doing it. So presumably this is going to be safe by Japanese standards, running at that speed, and that is pretty awesome if you're into your trains. There she is, the governor of Tokyo, the LDP, former environment minister. And yeah, she's going to push for a smoking ban before the Olympics, so that is interesting, especially given, as I've explained before, that the finance ministry doesn't like smoking to be regulated because they make money from it. For the first time ever, is it the first time ever? Anyway, the number of births in Japan drops below 1 million. The population is going like this, and it's accelerating downward. Did not know this. Apparently everyone makes fun of Japan for, or they're still using faxes. I had to buy a fax for my son in school to send notices to school. However, the biggest purchaser of fax is the National Health Service of Britain. Apparently in the whole world, they're the world's largest purchaser of fax machines. So Britain, you're actually outdoing Japan for using outdated technology. There you go. Boom. That's right, somebody threw some coins into the engine, everything will be fine. I remember that in Shanghai airport. That was a silly thing to do, wasn't it? And I got into a debate with a very good person to follow on Twitter, who you should follow. He's on my short list of readables that I have on Twitter. JLJZEN. He's a journalist at Japan Times. He writes good shit. He knows his stuff. I respect the guy. We got into a little bit of debate as to he was scoffing at the news giving more coverage to the coming Typhoon than to the ICBM test by North Korea. I suggested Typhoon looks pretty freaking dangerous, like it might actually kill some people, and it's an immediate danger to property and life. So yeah, sure, the news would cover that before it covers this international story. And I don't think it's that significant. I mean, I thought the more significant crossing lines, you talk about this being a red line being crossed, well, they blew up a freaking nuclear bomb a couple of years ago. They've already been testing missiles that can hit anywhere in Japan. Nothing's really changed for Japan. But he was arguing, and he kind of explained the case, and it eventually made sense to me that, oh yeah, this is different because America might now start a war. And that does change it. So he said from a geopolitical perspective, agree to disagree, but it turned out that that typhoon that came currently has triggered a death toll of 18 people, and there might be more. So yeah, I was right. Mr. Kordychev, you went to SpaceX. Spaceship 2 is set to blast off by year's end after that terrible accident, but you know, they got them back and flying, and I can't wait for that. So that's good news to come. What else we got here? Oh yes, the BBC thought it was time to recycle an old meme-tied story about Japan. Apparently Rupert Wingfield Hayes, who has the most British private school sounding name anyone has ever heard of, actually. Apparently he's been around asking people, why aren't young people having sex with him? I don't know if it's with him that's the problem or in general. But again, it's like, please try harder. Seriously, come up with a better story. I mean, 1 minute Japanese people are not having sex. Like 1 day before this, there was a story that a man was arrested in Saitama for having stolen 2,000 pairs of women's underwear. I mean, make up your mind. Is Japan like perverted or is it sexless? Because we appear to be trying to create a narrative that it's both at the same time, and just you can't have both. You can't. I don't know which one it is. The Japan has got a sushi bar worker lady coming over. Gotta go. Well, and with that picture as your avatar, it looks like that gives an impression that that is something that you need to go. So enjoy that. There's only 2 sections that run over normal tracks. Well, only 2 sections. They're pretty big sections. They are the Tohoku sections. I mean, you know, and that's why all the cool trains run on them, and they're normal gauge. The main runs between Osaka and so on, they've got special ones, but yeah, it's a good question. I guess the 360 km/h one probably isn't going to run on normal gauge, but there we go. Train discussion. Very good. What else we got in here? We got, yes, cheese. I already talked about this. Cheese coming to Japan. America lost the chance to sell lots of cheap stuff to Japan without tariffs. Europe jumped in, took the opportunity, and good on them. And we are going to get all of that beautiful cheese and hopefully some butter from Europe instead of TPP zone. As a New Zealander, I was going for the TPP, but it's a shame. Didn't happen. So 99's indeed there. Quint Rankid, good point, but, well, yes, well, it depends. I mean, I don't want to go Bill Clinton here, but there are many definitions. So there we go. Ambil, good to see you here, Ambil. But anyway, I'm stoked that we got this free trade deal with, which will include European agricultural products, wine, cheese. I mean, I was hoping that we would get like American and New Zealand, Australian agricultural products in here cheaper. But since America doesn't want to sell to Japan, we're just going to get it all from Europe, and I'm stoked because, you know, America has like awesome cheese, and Japan gets to sell more cars there as a result. Well then, Hiko sprung this early on us. Yes, the new Shinkansen is not until 2019, so I did spring it early if that's what you're going to be. Kim Jong-un is going to be Japan's new supplier of cheese. There's a dark thought. But what can we do? 100,000 elderly drivers return their driver's licenses. Another reason why Japan really needs self-driving cars, because a lot of these smaller rural towns where old people live, they need cars to survive in those places, but they can't drive. So yeah, I think it's a big deal. I didn't say that America has awesome dairy products. Well, specifically New Zealand and Australia did, but the point is they're not going to get to sell it here. No, America, I'm sorry, Mr. Kordychev, that's an excellent point. English Girly, good to have you along here. I don't recognize the handle, so good to have Struth. We thought the start at 11. I see you say English, but that's an Australian thing. I didn't know that English people said Struth, but yes, indeed. I normally start at 11, but due to domestic reasons, too much noise, too late at night, until the Premier League starts again, the English Premier League soccer starts again, I have to finish the show by 11:30, so I'm starting at 10:30 for the next 3 months. Okay, so heads up to everybody. Triggering me like crazy with that sentence. I'm sorry about that. Did not mean to trigger you, Mr. Coy. Well, maybe I did. Maybe I did mean to trigger you. Well, what can we do about that? Ants. Fire ants. Fire ants were discovered a couple of weeks ago in Kobe. And this is Tokyo tonight too, so I don't really care too much about that. Apparently these things, they cause actually like these, they can actually cause respiratory failure and death. They're super aggressive, they super attack people all over the place. They cause you, like, they bite you here, your whole arm will get covered in a painful burn type rash, which is why they're called fire ants. And they attack en masse and they kill people. They're from South America, I think. A shipping container in Kobe was filled with a few of them, and it turned out that they found a whole bunch of them in Kobe and Osaka. And then this week they found a whole bunch near the cargo terminals in Shinagawa and Oi in Tokyo. So now we have, in addition to redback spiders in Tokyo, which we got from Australia, we now have South American fire ants. So there you go. This has been causing a bit of a panic in Tokyo, but there we go. Apparently came in a container from China. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy, but there we go. Kyushu, there was basically a weather pattern this week where there was a not so big typhoon, but it was basically pressured in between two high pressure systems and this huge rainy season sort of weather front, and it just parked over Kyushu and it just stayed there for days, like pouring kind of intense squall type rain, the sort of rain that you get, like, 10 centimeters in 1 hour. You just basically got that non-stop for 3 days. That's caused major flooding in central Kyushu, Fukuoka, Kumamoto and Oita prefecture. It's caused a lot of landslides that have isolated a lot of towns. A lot of people have gone missing in the floods, and currently death toll is 18. I mean, it's worse actually than you normally get from a typhoon. Self-defense forces have been deployed to help rescue people, and it's a big mess down there, which I think post facto validates the priority of this story over the North Korean IBM story within Japan. Yeah, I hope everyone down there in Kyushu is okay, and it looks like they're going to be recovering from that for a long time. This is a cool video. This person just basically made a whole lot of animations of Tokyo in a video. I wonder if you can see it. Yeah, I can't really reduce the size. Oh, can I? So you can only see parts of it there in the middle, but anyway, you should go watch it. I've got the link there. It's pretty awesome. In fact, I think that'll be capturing sound, so let me stop that. But this is like 40 images of Tokyo, and it's very, very well done. So that is cool. Go and check that stuff out, because that is cool. That person is a legend who did it. That's a very good job. Who was the animator? James Curran visited Tokyo and made these awesome gifts, so that is pretty cool. I say it with a hard G because that's how you're supposed to say it. Kyushu, serious flooding. I thought this was funny. So a big Japan tweeter, DURF, D-U-R-F, made a whole bunch of memes about this Pence touching something labeled "Do Not Touch," and got featured on Gizmodo, which to me is like peak Twitter. You can't get any bigger, basically, in the Twitter world than getting featured on Gizmodo. So congratulations to DURF. Japan is going to start mandatory English lessons as part of standard education for 3rd and 4th grade kids from 2018. So yeah, more English education. I don't know how much it's going to help. It's just another school subject that kids are going to feel like it's going to be a drag, but there again, more business if you want to get jobs teaching English, more opportunities there. Hey Triple J, Jinx's journey to Japan, glad that you can make it. And yes, that is correct. Horrible disaster in Kyushu, and the bugs are getting worse here. We're getting all the worst bugs from all over the world here, unfortunately. Oh, you're in the UK. Yeah, Tokyo was too hot today. It was like 35 degrees. Someone asked about the Toyota, where that's happening, and specifically. So let's recap on this lady. There she is, Senator Toyota, LDP senator in the national government. Apparently she has a background. She used to be a bureaucrat in the Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare, looking after workers' rights. When she became a senator, she got a secretarial assistant, basically a staffer who travels around and helps her do her ministerial duties, or senatorial duties. This male staffer that she had She apparently physically assaulted on several different occasions, screaming at him, assaulting him, insulting him, humiliating him. He decided to carry a recorder and record one of the beatings, which he got. He's begging her to stop, and she is hysterically screaming at him, "You bald fuck," pretty much. I mean, she was just screaming, "Yeah," which is just bald, but, you know, it had like a nuance. I'm sure if she was speaking English, you know, there would have been a lot of very, very painful, hurtful words, particularly for someone with my own hairline. And so, yes, she's had to step down from, she's left the LDP, she's not in the LDP anymore. And the news this week is that the staffer who was assaulted, who recorded the getting assaulted by this politician, who ironically is from the Ministry of Workers' Rights, and she was basically power abusing and assaulting an employee, he's filed a complaint with the police, and she could be going to jail now. Is that right? Is she about the same age as us? Well, that is depressing. Well, I like to think I haven't I haven't beaten anyone like that lately. So, you know, I think Ko Hoshino-san, we are doing better than Toyota-san here anyway. So people were asking about that. She and on the recording, she sounded batshit crazy. The story she came back with to explain why she was talking so crazy, she said that the staffer was driving tried to enter the highway, up the wrong way up a ramp, so was driving the wrong way down a road onto a highway. I don't know, but she's not someone that I would want to tangle with in a dark alley. The Okinawa, of course, has most of the U.S. military presence in Japan, and they train all over the island, including doing these parachute sort of drills all the time. And unfortunately, what happens all the time when you do these parachute drills on this island is that sometimes they drift into the wrong places, and they scare the bejesus out of old people when they land in their backyards, and they're covered in camouflage paint and wear and stuff, and they parachute in. So they've the kind of, yes, Okinawa's fed up with playing host to US forces for too long. Of course, they do contribute a lot to the economy there, and more importantly, they contribute a lot to the regional stability. So I don't want them to go, but Okinawa, of course, it is a burden for Okinawa, and there is a tense relationship between the Okinawan government and the US forces there. And the Okinawan governor, who's kind of gotten kicked around a little bit on the new base in Hinoko, they're going to look to try to get an injunction to stop the US being able to do parachute drills in Okinawa, which again makes it kind of difficult for them to be there at all if that's the case. More talent migrating from foreign to Japanese corporations? Really? I don't know. I kind of read this and I thought, well, it's interesting. I suppose it's kind of good news. I know a lot of Japanese companies have gone acquiring, like Nomura's been acquiring a lot of foreign companies, but I started out in Japanese companies and I moved to foreign companies. But it's not that one's better than the other, but just Japanese companies are not very well equipped for looking after foreigners, and that's not just like white people like me. Chinese people also, you know, just generally it's very hard to find culturally enlightened companies that know how to look after their foreign employees. But there we go. I guess it is Japanese companies have done a lot of M&A. They've been acquiring a lot of foreign companies, and they've been gaining foreign employees in lots of different ways. And there are lots of people like me who want to come to Japan and work in big Japanese corporations. But I do hope it triggers a growth and maturity in Japanese companies being able to manage their foreign employees. Herb Toker, good to have you here. Hey Andy, good to see you. It's good to see some people join as the show goes on, including Mara Ligas. Good to have you along. Yeah, it's cool to see everybody going there. Jinx is wearing a Mozzie band. I'm glad that it's stopping you from getting bitten. If you're in Japan, people will point out if you have O-type blood, Mozzies just love O-types. If you're like the one O-type and everyone else is like A, you're going to get all the Mozzie bites, and I am that person. So there we go. Herb Tokyo is here. Let's start over. Good idea. I'm a Sukori chap. In fact, I'll be starting on the music soon. Renho, so I mentioned before, the Democrats got destroyed in the Tokyo elections. Renho hasn't visibly really been seen. Maybe it's the media not covering her, but I haven't seen her really do anything other than make mistakes since she became leader. She's been an enormous disappointment, and frankly, the Democrats are in crisis. They are just disappearing from relevance. And from that perspective, although she's hot, and she's a fresh face, and I was hoping that she might get the Democrats back on track. She fundamentally made a really big mistake when the very first thing she did was she made former Prime Minister Noda his cabinet secretary. He's been the face of the LDP, speaking more than her for the party, and he's exactly the sort of person that, you know, she was supposed to like clean out, and they didn't do it. So I'm hoping, frankly, Some people have pointed out within the Democrats, they think that it's because she has a Taiwanese father and she didn't adopt Japanese citizenship properly. She didn't go through the proper paperwork for it and she had to fix that. Some say her nationality is a big issue. I don't think it is. I don't think the only people for whom her nationality is an issue are people who wouldn't vote for her anyway, just far right-wing people. I have more of a problem with the fact that she's just been a massive disappointment. And for that, it saddens me to say that I'd like to see the Democrats try someone else because I would like them to have a chance in the next election. So that is interesting. Japanese airports are going to start using facial recognition technology, which I hope they say hello to me and they know my name next time they see me, but that is interesting. They already have those cameras there anyway. I thought that was what that was for. If they are using facial technology so that you don't even have to like stop at passport control, that is awesome and I'm all for that. But yeah, Japan's first private rocket's about to launch, and I think this is the last one. Oh, second to last one. Congress is about to approve a new space army. This is probably a bad idea, but superficially I think this sounds like an awesome idea because, you know, like every awesome TV show and movie ever had a space army. Yeah, it's probably not a good idea, but there we go. Congress looks like they're about to approve it. And there we go, the final story for today. Apparently a school's triggered a debate over whether Vocaloid music is really real music or not. A lot of people don't like the fact it's artificial voices, but I think it's kind of cool. I'm all talked out. We've got 8 minutes left. I set up a track earlier. I did promise I would start putting the music corner in the end of the show back in, so let's put some music on and wrap up the show. Jinx, it was a bit strange for me as well, although again, back in my time, in the 90s when I first got my Gaijin Resonance card, they actually ink fingerprinted you like at the cops, which you actually had to, so it's improved a lot. And bear in mind, when I said that was weird, and I said that was weird at the time, they said, believe me, I understand it's weird for you, but imagine how weird it is for a 4th generation Korean Japanese. They get really upset by this when they have to do this to their children when they're born, and that was why they got rid of it, because it was actually like so uncomfortable for the police having to fingerprint children. Basically, for the police database, they're presuming that these people when they're born were going to be criminals, and that went all the way to the Japanese Supreme Court. Unfortunately, they stopped doing it. That was back in the 90s, so believe me, yes, it sucks getting fingerprinted and it is strange, but it's a lot better than it used to be. Not that that's saying very much. So let's kick in the old, I'm playing around sort of setting up a track tonight. So let me switch this and switch mode to the Chaos Oscillator iPad. Boom. How do I switch this? Now hang on a sec. Let me just make sure I get this plugged in correctly. There we go. And let me get this in. And audio input capture. And let's play some music. I've got to get that comment box the right shape. So here we go. Because you still want to hang out sometime next month? Yes, definitely. Hit me up, message me. We'd love to meet up. If you're in Japan, by the way, I do like to meet up for people for lunch and stuff when they are here. So, cool. Oh, very, very glad to hear that you'll be here. Here is a track that I set up today, and let's kick it off. Maybe I should change the bass. Oh, cool. Oh, this one's a good group. I kind of like the Electro Squirrel. So that's the show. Thank you for joining. I hope you like the track. I should make this into a proper track. I quite like this one. This is quite good. Thank you for joining. Come back same time next week, 10:30, not 11. RS. Damn. Yes, I know I should do another chapter for that. Thank you for reminding me of that, RS. Yeah, and I should. And this track's pretty good. Check out my SoundCloud. I will probably make more tracks. I'll definitely be checking out Entering Winderheck to see if that's my track or not. And yeah, well, hopefully when the recorded show's on, it'll be a little bit better. Thank you everyone for coming. See you again next week. Have a good one. And yeah, don't forget, follow me on Twitter, Facebook if you want to keep up with what's going on. Message me anytime, especially if you're coming to Japan. Love to see you guys and hang out with you guys when you're here. And yeah, have a good week. Don't forget, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Have a good week. Peace. Boom. Let's flip all the audio. See ya. That's the show. See ya.